You've all seen these surface level videos about builder incentives and new build negotiating tips, but those are vanilla. They're superficial and they barely scratch the surface. Today, we're going deeper into the pricing mechanics that builders hope you never learn. And if you've watched me long enough, you know everything I teach comes straight from data and strategic math. So in this video, I'm opening the door to what actually shifts builder pricing, because if you don't know what drives their numbers, you're negotiating in the dark. First up, paradigm shift. You are not negotiating with a salesperson. You are negotiating against a machine. And your first big question is what actually drives pricing with that machine? Builders track 4 numbers every day. First, they track active inventory. This is the count of all completed and near completed inventory homes. They track this because it measures their carrying cost and exposure. You can think about inventory tracking like this. Rising active inventory equals increasing pressure to make a deal and sell. Next, they track their current absorption rate. We're talking how many homes have sold in the last 3 to 6 months divided by how many homes are currently available. Tracking their absorption rate measures essentially the velocity of their sales. And here's what we see from the outside. Falling absorption equals incentives increasing. While rising absorption, you're gonna see incentives tightening. Builders use absorption rates to decide pricing, discounts, rate buy downs, and how aggressively to negotiate. So this is a big data point for them. Builders are also tracking their forward commitment usage. When a builder buys a forward commitment, they're basically buying a big pool of discounted interest rate money. Like say the builder buys $8 million worth of 4.99% rate money. Every time a home buyer chooses that rate, some of that prepaid money gets used. So they're looking at the remaining balance of discounted rate money that they've already purchased. So remember, they've already paid the full amount to discount that rate, to 4.99%. So this is always a gamble on their end. It is a total financial loss if they don't use up those funds because they already paid the fee up front. So tracking this number is going to determine how much low rate money they have left to loan. If there's too much left and it's not moving fast enough, they are going to sweeten the deal in other ways to get that amount of money used. Builders also track shifts in the MBS spread. And if I just lost you on that, okay, MBS stands for mortgage-backed securities. It's the financial market where lenders sell mortgages to investors. The MBS spread is the return investors demand compared to treasuries. Now, why is that important to our builders? Well, because when this spread changes, the cost for builders to offer forward commitments changes instantly. If the spread widens, mortgage rates become more expensive and it'll cost builders more money to offer a forward commitment. Then if the spread narrows, mortgage rates get cheaper. And remember, we are talking deals in the millions of dollars here. So if the prices drop, builders are like, hey, let's buy another batch of forward commitments while they're cheaper. This is where you, as the buyer, will see they are far more generous with wanting to use up those 4.99% funds. So that equals more flexibility and a better deal for you. Then on the flip side, if the mortgage spread has widened and forward commitments are way more expensive, they'll be in less of a hurry to use up the forward commitment pool that they have right now. If you think of builders as a giant machine, you can track how upper management will respond to negotiations just by watching the MBS spread. So this gives incredible leverage on the buying side. Beyond their daily tracking, our builder machine is using other metrics to drive pricing and incentives as well. For example, they have real-time pricing reactions to weekend traffic. If a community sees a major traffic spike Friday through Sunday, builders may pull their incentives on Monday. After a busy weekend, they just don't need them. That traffic surge signals strength to the builder. On the other hand, if traffic crashes between Friday and Sunday, you'll likely see incentives come roaring back, like often even stronger on Monday. Think about the strategy here and all of the things that come into play, like whether, for example, a rainy weekend could literally help you get a better deal. Or how about the big freeze of 2021, where the market ground to a halt due to the weather. Holidays can mean another great opportunity for you. If everyone is out of town or celebrating a holiday, that could literally result in a better deal. So you have to be thinking in real time when you're ready to buy. There are so many triggers for incentive increases, so be aware of them. Yes, we talked about slow weekend traffic, but that's just one signal. You can also watch for poor absorption across communities in the same school district or zip code. When nearby communities can't move inventory, it forces everyone to sharpen their pencils. And don't overlook the human side of the sales floor, all right? A lazy, inattentive sales consultant who isn't hitting their numbers can be your unexpected advantage. High cancellation rates in the system are another red flag. When too many contracts fall apart, incentives almost always climb to fill that gap. On the flip side, just like there are triggers for bigger incentives, there are also triggers for incentive cuts, signs that the leverage is shifting away from the buyer. And think about weekend traffic. If you walk into a model home and it's packed, that's not momentum that you want to compete with. A large batch of approvals coming through underwriting is another sign. That means the lender is greenlighting a surge of pending contracts, and builders don't need to negotiate as aggressively when they've got contracts in the pipeline. Same goes for aggressive performance weeks, where the sales team suddenly exceeds their quota. When they're ahead of schedule, incentives tighten. There is not a thing wrong with you asking the sales consultant how they're doing on their quota this week. With all of this, do not miss how large of a role automation plays. Most of these builders are using automated pricing software. A lot of builder pricing is adjusted by algorithm, not people, which makes the changes predictable and entirely objective. There's no emotion, no sales floor whims, just data feeding the system. Inventory aging models work the same way. Prices are automatically adjusted based on completion dates, and the exact same floor plan will typically drop in price as it nears full completion. The same automated systems are monitoring competitor inventory in real time. These systems scrape websites, MLS, and builder portals to track how much product everyone else is carrying. Incentives are revised to match or undercut whatever the competition is doing. Use this as leverage when you're negotiating. Point out that the builder next door is offering a better rate special, Trust me, they already know and they're motivated by it. Phase velocity also plays a huge role. If the current phase is selling quickly, prices rise. If it's lagging, prices soften or incentives expand until absorption comes back in line and our builder machine is once again profitable. And that leads me right into my next point. We've seen what drives pricing, but how does the builder actually make money? Well, they have three major profit centers. One is the margin on the home itself, right? We're talking about the base price that includes land cost, vertical construction, and overhead. Two, margin on financing. Builders will control rate buydowns, lender credits, and forward commitment money here. They will also absolutely profit from having the buyer use their lender. And then three, margin on the design center. This is really the highest margin segment. Builders mark up most finishes by 40 to 60%, and it produces massive internal profits for them. The profit is often even higher than structural options. You need to know that within the builder machine, sales reps do not control profit. They have absolutely nothing to do with how much a builder makes. They have a limited discretionary budget that they call their back pocket money, and that's all the control they're given. If you have that in mind, you're going to know that sales reps control velocity, not profit. Everything they're measured on comes down to weekly contract count, Their key performance indicators are in how many contracts are signed, not how profitable each one is. So their awards, bonuses, and internal rankings all come from getting homes under contract, not how much profit each one makes. This is where you are able to negotiate stronger by understanding the sales rep doesn't control profit. Their willingness to champion your deal depends on how well you align with what they're responsible for. helping them hit their velocity numbers within a certain time period. Okay, with that knowledge, let's go ahead and talk about incentive changes. This is where you're going to engage with the sales consultant the most, and you need to understand how those incentives work. All right, incentives can change constantly, even daily. Builders will swap a rate buy down for a closing cost credit or quietly move realtor bonuses into buyer incentives and vice versa. Flex cash is another area where this happens. They will reallocate the distribution, maybe less towards the rate, more towards the design, or suddenly apply it to a lot premium. Whatever they think will trigger the strongest emotional reaction from the buyer. And if a buyer previously walked away, builders may change that entire incentive structure just for that person, hoping a different mix will bring them back to the table. This is why you always calculate the net savings. The new offer may sound better, but the actual financial benefit can be smaller than what you had before. Incentives move constantly, and builders will present them in whatever format creates the most perceived value, even when the real savings may not have changed at all. Another piece you need to watch out for is standard feature reductions. Builders do this quietly because it allows them to keep base prices stable or even make it look like prices have gone down when the truth is you're just getting less. Like they'll swap out 8-foot doors, downgrade LVP flooring, cut smart home packages, remove gutters or landscaping extras, and even shrink electrical or lighting packages. Roofing is a great example of this. One of our current buyers is a commercial roofer, so he brings a lot more knowledge to the table. Well, he pointed out to us that Bloomfield Homes is installing a noticeably lower grade roof. Now, why are they doing that? Well, the sales consultant all out told us that most buyers aren't going to know the difference. So it's a way they can quietly cut costs without you knowing about it. So you ought to always ask the hard questions when it comes to incentives and do the math to calculate your net savings. Now let's talk about timing, because timing can absolutely yield a huge strategic advantage. Inventory aging patterns are a great example of this. Many buyers assume days on the market is a key thing to watch, but that's actually a fake metric. The real metric the machine is going to respond to is the completion date minus 30 days. When it's a month away from being ready, they're like, hey, let's lock this thing under contract and turn it into cash. In the same way, when you're looking at listings, the listing will usually say ready in, and then it'll list a month. So that's the metric you want to look at. When you're 90 plus days after that time, you have a nice negotiating window. And you want to speak the builder's language here. Don't say, look, this home's been on the market for 400 days. Okay, that doesn't really mean anything to them. Instead say, wow, this home has been ready since June and it's still sitting here in December. So that is their real pain point. Another driving factor is bust homes. These are custom-built homes where the original buyer fell through. The builder already knew he'd be carrying this home through the whole construction process, like a lot of times up to a whole year. But when it falls through at that point, all right, that is an epic timing fail. These are not price controlled like standard inventory homes, so the builder has already lost money when the sale falls through. For bust homes, look for highly personalized finishes, non-neutral things, okay? Waterfall edges, mixed metals, designer tile, or unusual cabinet colors. So if you see any of these, all right, you may have just stumbled upon a serious deal. Bust homes equal major discount zones. Like, not only are you getting more customizations without paying for them, but the builder was not counting on carrying them as inventory. So he wants them sold. So he will be more likely to negotiate on everything. This all hits even harder at the end of a quarter. Shareholders expect end of quarter numbers. So this is when the pressure to clear inventory spikes. And at the end of the year, the motivation is even stronger. They want their numbers to end strong. Okay, so we've talked a lot about how builders decide when to give a deal, but how do they decide who gets the deal? Well, a lot of it's pretty simple, really. The highest incentives go to the buyer who removes the most uncertainty. So no home sale contingency. They want a fast closing, a clean loan file, a high down payment, an excellent credit score, and a buyer who's approved for a much higher contract price. So when you are negotiating, you want to point out all of these things. Also, if you want to be the kind of buyer a builder gives the best deal to, let's talk about your strategy stack. Focus on timing, execution, framework, and leverage. Time the builder cycle like a pro. Jump in at the quarter end or year end. Be aware that builder fiscal calendars are tied to shareholder reporting. Remember while you're doing this that sales reps are motivated by the number of homes under contract. They don't know anything about the profit. These peak deal windows last about 10 days of each quarter, and from an annual perspective, the lowest prices are always on sales closed in January because no one wants to buy between Thanksgiving and Christmas. So that is your best time for you to go under contract. Remember how builders adjust based on traffic, but don't forget about the market either. Combine builder timing with market timing. So if the builders are tracking MBS spread, you should be too. You've also got to be able to negotiate without emotion. With pre-owned homes, there is emotion on both sides, right? It's emotion versus emotion. But with new construction, there may be emotion on your side, but their side is only data. Remember, we are talking about the machine behind the deal here. You win by removing any signs of emotional response. Your negotiations also need to align with the builder's KPIs because that's what they're reacting to. Their entire world is measured by net contracts, cancellation rate, margin per plan, and how many days each spec home has been aging. So if your offer helps solve one of those problems, you suddenly look a lot more attractive to management. From there, it is all about high impact moves. Clean offer terms are huge. Builders love anything that reduces friction, and never underestimate rapport with the sales rep, okay? They are the gatekeeper who decides whether your deal even reaches management. So your tone and approach genuinely influence how hard they advocate for you. Don't forget to leverage bust homes whenever you find them, all right? They are already financial wounds the builder wants off the books. And absolutely use the walkaway principle. Walk away at least once to signal zero emotional attachment. Visit the other builders in the community and let them know you're doing that. The more they feel you truly have options, the faster the machine recalculates in your favor. If you only remember a few things from this video, here's what you should take away. Builders negotiate numbers, not feelings. Incentives follow math, not mood. And speed trumps emotion. If the numbers make sense, move. Do not let emotions slow you down. Numbers equals certainty, and certainty trumps price. Builders will almost always give the best deal to the buyer who gives them the most certainty, even if that buyer isn't offering the highest price. Remember that builders care more about no contingency, fast closing, strong financing, high credit score, and clean offer terms. A perfect buyer gets more incentive money than a risky buyer. The more certain you are to close, the more the builder will give you, even if your price isn't the highest. Above all of that though, timing trumps everything. You can negotiate perfectly, have great financing, and be a dream buyer, but if your timing is off, none of it matters. A buyer who shows up at the right moment will beat a more qualified buyer who shows up at the wrong moment. You can do everything right, but if you show up during a bad cycle, you won't get the deal. So show up during the right cycle and you'll get more than you expected. Every decision you make is being measured against a machine. As important as it is to understand that machine, you also need to understand the market you're operating in as well. To help you do that, I definitely recommend checking out this video. In the meantime, this is Wendy Pinnell, your Dallas Realtor and Broker, and I'll catch you on the next video.